and gentlemen, welcome back to Tech Showdown. My name is Kevin. This is my co-host Teddy, and today we're checking out another router. This one is a bit more reasonable though. This is the ASUS DSL-AC68U 802.11ac dual band wireless modem router. So this guy's looking pretty cool, and I've been testing it out for probably about a week now, so let's jump right in there. So you see on the box, it's all pretty nice, pretty standard stuff you get from ASUS. More importantly is what you get in the box. So let's have a quick look then. So you get the power adapter right here. This end is interchangeable depending on where you live. Obviously I got the New Zealand one on. We have, this is a DSL cable, so that's really cool. This here. Okay, so it's just data cable, you know, your LAN cable, pretty standard. You're getting a, okay, so this is if you're running your phone line through that, so that's just the splitter there. Another splitter here. Okay, that's cool, you get two different ones. And then you just get all the, you know, quick start guide, warranty information, and your CD. So let's talk about the router itself then, and here it is. Oh boy, look at that. Look at all those antennas going up. So it's not too big. It's definitely feels very well made, so that's good as well. So you'll be able to fit this guy anywhere. Shouldn't really be a problem wherever you put it, wherever your normal router would go. It's about standard size. So let's talk about some of the features. So it goes up to 1300 megabits a second on the 5 GHz 802.11ac band, or 450 megabits a second on the 2.4 GHz 802.11n band, and that gives you a combined band data rate of up to 1900 megabits a second, which is definitely hauling along. It's also featuring dual CPUs, so one is optimized for cable use, so you know if you're going to be using it with a wide connection, and the other one is for your wireless connections. It's also coming with their 802.11ac Broadcom chipset, which gives you super fast gigabit wireless speeds, which is really good to see. It's also coming with their AR radar beamforming, which, as I explained in the last router video I did, beamforming is instead of the router throwing out the wireless signal in every direction sort of evenly, it just figures out where your device is basically, and then it strengthens the signal in that direction. So it's much better, it gives you much better signal strength. And lastly, it's also coming with their VPN server and VPN client support, so that's going to be good for you, those of you out there that want a bit more privacy. So let's talk about the setup. So ASUS routers are, I don't know how I'd put it, they're just a bit more fun than the usual ones, at least for me anyways. It's probably my only big drawback with this router is that it was quite difficult for me. Now this could be because of the ISP I'm with, it also could be because I'm in New Zealand. But yeah, it was just a bit more difficult than I would have hoped to set up, and it did take me quite a while. I also couldn't set it up at all without a firmware update. I tried everything and it just wasn't happening, but after I did a firmware update, it opened up some more options, which was good, so that allowed me to actually set it up. And this is the sort of common problem I found with the ASUS routers. The only good thing I can say is that you only really have to do it once, so that's pretty good. If we look around to the I/O, it's pretty standard. We're seeing the DC in, DSL, a single USB 3.0 port. I guess some people might be a bit let down that there's not more, but you know, it's fine for me. And then 4 LAN ports there, so that's pretty good. Now let's talk about the main thing, the connections and the speeds. So I'm using VDSL. I don't have fiber here. I couldn't get fiber, but the VDSL I've got does a pretty good job for the most part, at least on the download speeds. So on cable, so when the LAN cable connected to the router, I was getting 60 megabits a second, which, you know, that's pretty fair. It's, you know, good enough to get you by for most things. Now on the 5 gigahertz band in the same room, so in this room right here, it was getting 53 megabits a second. Now that is very solid, only 7 down on a wide connection. I was very impressed. However, if I go out into my lounge, which is that room just over here, so there's sort of like one wall between it, that drops down to 44. So that's sort of the main detractor of the 5 gigahertz band. It's less cluttered, and if you have a really good signal strength, it's phenomenally fast. However, its range does lack, so that's one of the main downsides to it. Now, on the more conventional 2.4 gigahertz band, in the same room, in this room, it's 30 megabits a second, so that it basically halved it, which isn't that ideal, but that's still good enough to get you by. And if I went into my lounge, that would drop down to 25, so I only lost 5 as opposed to losing 9 on the 5 gigahertz band. So a bit the 2.4 gigahertz does give you a bit better range, which is evident there. However, as far as just general use goes, it was fantastic. It never dropped at all. I never needed to restart it, and it never overheated or had any funny problems like that. So it was absolutely fantastic on that side of things. Now, as far as wireless coverage goes, on the 2.4 gigahertz band, it was perfect. Anywhere in my house, full bars, anywhere, even on the further side away from the router, full bars. So absolutely fantastic. That is because it does have external antennas. You really want to avoid a router that has internal antennas because your wireless range will just be, pretty pathetic. So I always opt for one with the wireless antennas. Like this one has its nice 3, which I'd set up like this, which is what they recommend. On the 5 gigahertz band, it does go down quite a bit. On the furthest part of my house, it went down to 2 bars. That was the lowest I could get it down to. It would still work alright, but as I said before, it's not really ideal with 5 gigahertz if you're going to be quite far away, as range isn't its strong point. But the Wi-Fi in general was very good, very nice wherever I was using it around the house, very good, and I have no complaints with the Wi-Fi. Which brings us now to the conclusion, and what do I make of the AC68U? So this router is very impressive. It's coming in right now at $399 at Playtech, and I think that's fairly fair for what you're getting with this router. It has great features. The setup for me was a bit annoying, but it might be different for you depending on what your ISP is in New Zealand, and if you're out of New Zealand it might be completely different. So just my personal experience, it was quite annoying to set up, but as I said, you only need to do it once. Connection wise, it was completely solid. The Wi-Fi was absolutely fantastic. No complaints here. Very, very impressive Wi-Fi. And I do really recommend this router. So if you're looking for just a really solid upgrade, basically all-in-one upgrade, because it's a modem router from the factory router that maybe you got from your ISP, then yeah, I would definitely take a look at this guy. For the price, it might be a bit high for some people in terms of what they assume a price would be for a router, but I assure you it's definitely worth it, and it's definitely nowhere near as expensive as the last router we did from ASUS. So yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic router. Now, I thank you all for watching this video. Please subscribe to Tech Showdown if you haven't already, and like the video. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.